Good morning, Guyana. Good morning, Guyana. Welcome down to another episode of Fun, Fit, and Healthy. I'm Coel, your resident trainer. And I do apologize for the tardy start. We were supposed to have executive members from the Guyana Bodybuilding and Fitness Federation in the studio today. Mr. Murphy's Law, anything that can go wrong will go wrong. So we had some mishaps that led to that not being a reality. But we apologize about that. So I'm going to talk a little bit before we get into it. I want to talk to you today about how to stay motivated once you started your workout. I'm going to talk a little bit about, I'm going to read some stories that I've been getting, and we're going to talk about some of the issues that you may be facing. But before we get into that, I want to talk to you about the bodybuilding show, the Guyana Bodybuilding Fitness Federation. Bodybuilding being a big component of the fitness community in Guyana. Sunday they had a fitness games, right, which is a brand of CrossFit, or the style of CrossFit training, and there are many different disciplines within the fitness, under the fitness umbrella. We have weightlifting, we have powerlifting, we have bodybuilding, we have CrossFit now that is most popular these days among people who are getting into health and fitness. There are different styles of training, different techniques. Well, I would say different combination of exercises make up these different exercises, and bodybuilding is part of that. And the Bodybuilding and Fitness Federation is tasked with the responsibility of fielding athletes to compete both regionally, locally, regionally, and internationally for bodybuilding specifically. Bodybuilding being the sport that is predicated on the aesthetic quality of the body and not necessarily strength. Personally, I was a former, I could be considered still a bodybuilder, although I don't train like I used to before. So bodybuilding is very, very near and dear to me. I did some work with the Bodybuilding Federation a few years ago, and within those responsibilities at the Bodybuilding Federation, we were able to do what the current federation is doing, which is hosting shows and selecting athletes for international participation in shows like the Caribbean CAC, Caribbean Championships. We have shows in Barbados like the Darcy Beckles Classic. There's a Aruba Classic. There's shows in Trinidad or World, or the name of the show in Trinidad, where you have a lot of athletes that from Guyana go overseas and they participate. So bodybuilding has been in Guyana for a number of years, and we always have a team going out that functions at a high level and typically brings home a lot of hardware. Just recently, we had our very own Rosanna Fung, phenomenal bikini. Well, I think she moved up to women's fitness. She moved up, and she is a phenomenal athlete, and she recently gained her pro card, right? Two other professionals that are Guyanese. There's Sylvan Gardner. He's one of the main trainers over at Fitness 53. He's also a professional. I think he gained his pro card in 2004, if I'm not mistaken. One of those years. And we have Bruce Watley, another Guyanese also, who resides abroad, competed on behalf of Guyana, won his pro card also at the Caribbean Championships. So bodybuilding is something that a lot of people are not necessarily aware of, but it's very, 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 very prevalent in Guyana, and Guyanese athletes do perform at the optimal level at these regional shows and international shows. So we want to lend some support to the Bodybuilding and Fitness Federation. They have a show coming up on December 18th, that's a Sunday, at 6 p.m. at the Cultural Center. Now, what happens a lot of the times with these events, sponsorship is typically one of the hardest things to achieve when doing a fitness show, and I can tell you definitively about that. So for the viewers out there who might be interested in assisting the Guyana Bodybuilding and Fitness Federation, you are welcome to donate to the Fitness Federation. I'm going to give you some numbers you can call. You can call the organizing secretary, Mr. Vidish Sukran. His number is 693-6186. Right, he's the organizing secretary for the Guyana Bodybuilding and Fitness Federation. He was supposed to be in studio today, but he's unable to make it due to some unforeseen circumstances. Also, who you can contact is the president of the Bodybuilding and Fitness Federation, Mr. Kevin Bess. His number would be 681-6759. Right, these two people have been doing a phenomenal job running the bodybuilding sport in Guyana. Guyana has recently won the bid to host the Caribbean Championships here. That hasn't been done since 2004 in Guyana. Shout out to Donald Sinclair. He's one of the old bodybuilding stalwarts in the country. So, bodybuilding's been around. It's been around and it's very vibrant in this country. But a lot of you viewers might not necessarily be aware of bodybuilding and what goes on in the bodybuilding community. So I just want to spend some time to shed some light on their event. Remember, December 18th it's a Sunday at the Cultural Center. You can the ticket prices are not out yet, but you should be paying attention to the media. You'll be seeing. We will be having the members of the executive and some athletes come in studio, and we do a little bit of an interview with those athletes so you can learn about their journeys. Bodybuilding is very, very interesting. I can tell you that much. Where you can start training and looking up a certain way, and then you maturate, and then you become this specimen of a human being, right? Due to your hard work and diligence towards your diet and your training, which is very, very important when you decide to be a competitive bodybuilder. So it's not for the faint of heart. You gotta love it. It's not like other sports. I can tell you that much. I can personally tell you, it's not like other sports, and you kind of develop a strong sense of self and awareness when you decide to become a competitive bodybuilder or a competitive athlete in general. Anybody that does any kind of competitive sport would know that the level of discipline it requires is really, really high. And we want to give our props to our local bodybuilders and give them the recognition that they deserve. Right? Good. So I'm going to read a story. Well, not a story. I'm going to give you a comment from a person that contacted me about a week ago. I'm not going to give his name. But this person contacted me and he said, "Hi, Coel. I've been watching your show for a while and I've been trying to follow your exercises. Kudos to you. Thank you for joining in. My biggest problem that I keep running into is that I experience a lot of pain and I oftentimes eat badly and I don't feel as though I am achieving my goals." Right? So that is how the person contacted me and told me. And to break it down, to get into it, I think for the most part, a lot of persons who want to get into health and fitness have the reason why they want to get into health is because they realize that their bodies are not necessarily what they want them to look like, and they tend to feel depressed and they feel undesirable, and they feel as though nobody cares, right? What I always try to convey to people who are trying to get into any of these things is that you first need to care about yourself first, right? As human beings, we have this insatiable desire for external validation from other people, which is not a bad thing. I think it is okay to seek validation from external sources, but it starts with you. So I would firstly like to advise our viewer that it starts with you and realizing that you are the most valuable person in the whole process. A lot of us that do it are typically doing it for somebody else, and we don't want to encourage you to have that particular mindset. Do it for you first, right? Now, there are myriad of reasons why you may or may not be seeing the results that you desire, because it's not a very detailed message. I think the person who's reaching out is for me to drive the conversation. But as I've conveyed in the show before, the most important, several important things, but one key element is the mindset, and secondly is having the awareness about what it requires to get in shape. And fundamentally, any fitness plan, any fitness regimen that you design, you must be aware of how to control or what goes into your mouth, what you eat, right? And knowing how much to eat, knowing when to eat. We live in an information era, right? It's not that difficult to get ideas on diets and charts and understanding food. We always recommend on the show calculator.net as the primary site you can go to plug in your information, and you get a very detailed overview of what the amount of calories you need, and how you can create a calorie deficit. We talk a lot about calorie deficits on the show, because calorie deficits is fundamentally the key aspect of weight loss, right? Weight loss is premised on calorie deficits. And calories, again, are not necessarily fat calories. Don't mean fat calories are units of energy, right? And most of us are consuming more calories than our lifestyle requires. So knowing what your caloric intake, what your food intake needs to be, is very important. So maybe you are experiencing difficulty because you're not necessarily focusing on the eating part. It's wonderful that you're joining in. It's wonderful that you're trying to participate in the exercises, but it's fundamental that you understand the importance of making sure that you're eating correctly. All right. One other issue that could be impeding your results or your gains is that you're probably not getting enough sleep. Typically, persons that are under muscled, the people who are starting from a place of they're a bit over, they're under muscled. You typically have poor sleep cycles. Typically, right? And again, I can only speculate based on what I'm seeing. You probably have improper sleep cycle. You're probably one of the people that is on your phone very late at night, scrolling through more or less a social media junkie. And this is something that you need to get in charge of if you're trying to get in shape. You need to sleep. Not everybody has the ability to function optimally on poor sleep and added physical activity, right? So if you're joining in the show, you're working out, and your body's sore longer, and you're not recovering as fast, and you're fatigued, that could be a strong indication that you're probably not getting the right nutrition, as I said earlier, or also you are not getting enough sleep, right? Exercise is about 20% of about 20% of your input that is needed for weight loss and maintaining and getting in shape. 20%, right? The rest of it is your lifestyle and your eating. You understand? You have to sleep, bruv. Okay, bruv, you must be sleeping, bruv. If you're not sleeping, then you don't get enough rest. You don't get enough rest, your body cannot recover. Recovery is very important, especially if you're under-muscled, right? Because if you're under-muscled, you don't have enough muscles, and you're destroying the little muscle that you have, and it's surrounded by more fatty tissue, then your muscles hurt longer, right? They stay in a state of disrepair a lot longer, and that coupled with the fact that you may be not eating correctly already, it's going to really hamper your recovery. Right? Recovery happens when you sleep. You get good REM sleep. I think if you box back one of our shows, we had a show we talked about the necessity and the importance of sleep. right? Sleep is very, very important to anybody that is starting out. So, one, again, it could identify it to your diet and maybe tied to you being unaware of how to eat, and the ways to get in charge of that. Secondly, it could be that you're not getting enough sleep. And your sleep cycle, you need to regulate that. You need to make sure you train your body to wake up a certain time and train your body to go to bed a certain time. Put the phone away, right? It's hard in these times because the phone is a big source of entertainment for us these days. But you need to put it away. Put the phone away. I'm not sure in the video they talked about light sensitivity. If you're having difficulty sleeping because the phone light is actually keeping your body stimulated, you need to put it down, right? So, may not be getting your adequate nutrition, you may not be sleeping adequately, right? One other major component is stress. Stress. We all have stress. Stress is something that is inevitable in our lives, and people measure stress better than others. I was in a conversation with the Guyanese critic over the weekend, and he was telling me that he has little to no stress in his life because he has successfully achieved equilibrium, and that's a very, very wonderful place to be in. If you, as an adult person, is able to find equilibrium, your balance, when stressful situations hit you, you typically respond favorably, and you don't have as much stress generated in your body. Stress deliberately impacts a person's fitness pursuit, because from stress you become depressed or some form of depression. From stress, you actually release hormones into your body, like cortisol, that actually destroys your muscle tissue. Right? It literally breaks down your body. So, alleviation of stress is something that is significant when it comes to seeing results. Now, the exercise itself is supposed to assist with mood change, right? But I think in your situation, you're becoming frustrated by not seeing the results as fast as you'd like. So that is now tied to my next point, which is having your expectations, right? It's important that you have logical expectations of your body. Most persons, and again, as a fitness trainer, I would encounter persons that would come and want to look a certain way and lose a certain amount and lose it within a particular period. And that's not necessarily realistic or possible for the most part, right? Especially coming from a place of inactivity. Again, what is commendable that you commit to starting, which is good. You want to change your life. That's encouraged. But you must have a realistic goal in mind. And what I always tell people is to always focus on feeling good before looking good. The looking good part is going to come. You do these little tiny things, they aggregate and they turn into something big eventually, right? But focus on feeling good first before you focus on looking good. And again, they typically follow that particular pattern. And so if we remove a lot of the hang-ups we have about how we physically look and all these kind of things and how people are judging us when we're trying to get in shape, you may be under muscle, you may be out there in a big baggy t-shirt, and you may be hitting it, you're running around, body parts moving while you move, you keep moving. You understand? You are doing this because you've decided to make yourself a priority. There's nobody like you, right? So you're doing this for you, right? So again, adjust your expectations. Expectations may be a bit too far-fetched as a person that's now starting out in health and fitness. And again, I'm saying these things not to discourage you or badger you about where you are, but you must have realistic expectations. Otherwise, you're going to have difficulties throughout this process, right? And it is a process. Right? So that may be it. Also, and finally, I'm going to close on this point. It could be that you are not paying attention to our 3F principles. Now, the 3F principles is not something that is limited to fun, fit, and healthy's routines. Function, form, and failure is applicable to every single aspect of every single type of training you will ever do. You must be able to understand what you're doing, the function, right? The form, you must understand form, the biomechanics of the particular movement, and you must be experiencing some degree of failure, fatiguing your muscle before you stop. Now, to tie in this point, right? The human body moves a particular way, and you must be performing these exercises in a way that you're not experiencing any degree of or a high degree of pain inside of your joints. One of the strongest indicators, and again, your message didn't necessarily differentiate whether you're talking about pain in the muscles or pain in the joints, but I'm just going to expound on that. Pain in the joints is a strong indication that you are not moving in a biomechanically favorable way. And when we talk about biomechanics, we're talking about your body, its integration of the muscles and the skeletal structure and your central nervous system, all these things that are within us. The unity, the harmony of these systems in our body to produce movement, biomechanics, right? So, if you are moving in a way that is disharmonious to your body is going to try to correct itself by causing you pain, right? The human body is so immaculately designed, is very, very much designed to protect itself. So pain is pain in your joints, not pain in your muscles. Pain in your muscles is a good thing because muscles will heal once you rest them and you feed them adequately. Pain in your joints. Anytime you experience any degree of pain in your joints, a lot of pain in your joints, a little pain in your joints, you must be able to stop and evaluate your form. Now, on Fun and Fit and Healthy, we have scaled the workouts to last about a half an hour. We've also scaled the workouts to be interval based and not repetition based. You would hear me talk about repetition versus intervals all the time on the show. And repetition is just basically you do the sets, so you're just doing them at a fixed amount of repetitions for the set. With our style that we've adopted to make it more agreeable for your home consumption is interval based, meaning you work within a time period that is favorable. Now, with your performance of these exercises, you may want to, some persons try to overextend themselves during the interval because they're trying to keep up with maybe what you're seeing on the screen, or what I'm doing, or Gita and I are doing. You try to keep up with our pace, but our pace cannot be your pace because you're now starting out. You want to pace yourself, and you want to make sure that you're focus on the form aspect of it. Focus on making sure that your movement is smooth, your movement is clean, it's seamless. You don't feel as though your body doesn't naturally move this way, right? If you're feeling those things, if you're experiencing anything of that sort, you will have to make sure that you check your form. Your form may be poor, and that's maybe contributing significantly to your issues you may be having. And that basically would be some of the key points that may be impacting your results, right? So I hope what I just said answered your question or kind of assisted you, right? Firstly, get your mind right. You want to have your mind right first, right? Get your mind right first. When you take that mental strength now, we're going to apply it to creating a proper intake or a proper structure to your diet, or structure to what you consume, right? We talked about having these fancy diets, elaborate diets, which are good and very useful because typically the diets you get from a trainer or from a fitness professional, food has very high nutritional value indices, and you can get the bang for the buck with those type of meal plans, but typically they're very expensive. To go buy things from the different type of vegetables. However, you can achieve the same results by consuming the foods that you have access to, but in smaller portion sizes. And the way to do that is to understand what your intake needs to be, right? That's fundamental. Understand how much you need to consume as per lifestyle. So the website we recommend is calculator.net. You go on our website, again, it's going to give you all the information you need. Right? So you get on the website and you get your information plugged in, and it will tell you how much you need, and you start looking at, then do some additional research and get to charts, and you can see how you can build your meals with the food you have access to, right? And do that, and you will see results. You will see results. It's, kitty cat, one dotty build down the same, right? So, loving yourself, knowing what you need to do, getting enough sleep. Make sure you're getting that. That's going to help you with your recovery and repair. Having realistic goals, making sure that you're not necessarily creating false expectations in yourself. Alleviating stress, very, very important. Very, very important. So the exercise should be helping you to alleviate stress. If your exercise is causing you more stress, then you need to look at what you're doing and make sure that you make some adjustments to maximize output. And lastly, you must, lastly, yes, what was it? I lost my train of thought. Yeah, lastly, yes, you would, understand your sleep cycle, sure you get enough sleep, and alleviate stress. And yeah, you should be fine, you should be on point with your plans. Trust the process, guys. It's a very, 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 very lengthy thing. Being committed to yourself is a very, very lengthy thing. Being focused in this process, it's not easy, but it's, anything worth having is worth doing. Just this morning at our facility, we this conversation came up about the importance of your personal journey, how you arrive at your destination for you, right? At my gym, we have a collection of persons that are seeing results faster than the others. Others have the particular circumstances that make them inconsistent and a whole bunch of different things, right? We all have variables in our lives that kind of contribute to making it difficult for us, all right? But we have to do it. If you want to be around, if you want to benefit from the blessings that are coming your way, you need to be around. You need to try to work on that, right? If you're chasing the dollar, if you're chasing money, you need money to survive in this world, yes. But if you chase money, you don't chase your health. And the same money that you acquire chasing, you have to now spend that back to your health, right? So it's a lot more beneficial and more often than not, successful people, the people that you see are most successful. Health and fitness is a huge component of their lifestyle. As you guys noticed yesterday, we trained at one of the most successful people in Guyana's home, and we're trying to get him. We will get him. I gotta manifest. We will get him tomorrow. You guys tune in tomorrow. You'll get to see Mr. Mohammed do some core training with us. I'm sure you're in for a treat with that. So we'll try to get him on the show tomorrow. You'll see him train with us and see that it is possible. This is a very busy man, and he's finding the time to exercise. He has a very, very nice facility, and he utilizes it. It's not just ornamental in his home. He utilizes the machines that he has, and he's in shape, right, for the most part, right? So to close, I just want to encourage you guys to continue tuning in. Encourage you guys to continue making yourselves a priority and focusing on your goals and doing the best things to facilitate achieving these goals. I want to close by also reminding you guys of the Guyana Bodybuilding and Fitness Federation show on December 18th. It's a Sunday. Ticket prices are not out yet, but the location will be at the Cliff Addison Sports Hall. Please go out and support these athletes. Please, I'm imploring you, all you viewers that don't necessarily know anything about bodybuilding and may be curious about it. I encourage you to, put on a little dusty and go and peep the Bodybuilding and Fitness Federation show going on December 18th at 6 p.m. All right. The numbers, if you're reviewing and you're interested in donating or sponsorship, it's a good platform. That show typically has about 600 to 1,000 people attending, and that's a good place to plug your product. You can contact the president, Mr. Kevin Bess. His number is, let's confirm that. Kevin's number is 681-6759. And then we have Vidish's number, who's the organizing secretary. His number is 693-6186. If anybody out there that's interested in supporting bodybuilding in Guyana, please reach out to these numbers and lend your support. As a former executive member of the Guyana Bodybuilding and Fitness Federation, I do understand, and a former competing athlete both locally and overseas, I do understand the difficulties and the particular realities bodybuilding and all sport disciplines in Guyana typically face with preparing shows, with hosting shows, with having to prepare athletes for international competitions. It's very, very hard. It's very, very hard. And these athletes do well despite the difficulties that they face. So I want to encourage you guys to go out and support that show. We'll definitely have executive members on. Hopefully the president. Well, I'm hoping to get the president on. Kevin Best, and he's going to bring some athletes across so they can talk about their journeys and what they're experiencing and so on. Because it's a wonderful thing. I tell you. As a person that's done it, when you look at your transition, when you look at the product from your hard work, you're very, very, very encouraged. For those of you who are now getting into health and fitness, you guys can aspire to become bodybuilders also, competitive bodybuilders also. I can tell you this, and I'm close at this point. Give a bit of an anecdotal story. I personally, my very first shot, I started lifting weights and started exercising in about 2008. And for years and years and years and years, everybody's like, oh, you should do a show, And for years and years and years, I totally ignored doing it. But I can tell you this. The very first time I decided to do a show and diet and train and change my body, I have never regretted it one iota. Because the adulation you get while you're on stage for all your hard work, the kind of the vibe you get backstage while you're prepping to go on, it's a really different experience. It's an experience that really can't articulate how different it is to do all that hard work, and then for this one night you show up and then you show up. It's a very, very, very encouraging thing. And again, you and if you're doing it well. You get that kind of rush. It's a huge adrenaline rush from doing these shows, and that kind of encouraged me to do more shows and want to get more interested in health and fitness. So, I do recommend getting on board with a healthy lifestyle and pushing yourself to the limit till you probably become competitive. So. It's a lot, and it's very much worth it, because I think I can testify to this, that I don't exercise anymore. Like, people look at me and think that I have a very, very active. The only time I exercise is when I'm doing the shows with you guys. Only time. I don't have an active, regimented training lifestyle for myself. But the reason I'm able to preserve my body is because I follow the principles here. I try to eat well. I try to get enough sleep, and I try to alleviate stress as much as I can. And mind the bills. To help with the bills, they can get paid. Right? You just gotta keep focused and start focusing on what's positive in your life, and everything else will fall into place. Right? So, get on board with loving yourself, and get on board with making yourself a priority. So on the show, I'm gonna stress that a lot. Make yourself a priority. So thank you guys for joining us today. It's always a pleasure to meet with you in your homes. It's always a pleasure to be able to share and have these discourses with you. So thank you again for tuning in wherever you are to Fun, Fit, and Healthy. Again, your resident trainer, Coel. I am signing out, and you do have a wonderful rest of the day. And again, pay attention tomorrow. We're going to have Mr. Mohammed on board with us today. You take a look at his training. So take care. Have a wonderful day.